it's 3 p.m. and it's time for dinner with Nanny Bubby. No more dinner dreads, and we're doing side dishes today. So I'm so happy that you're joining me. Over here to my left, which looks like your right, are my friends on Instagram. I'm doing this on 2 different devices because Facebook and Instagram don't allow you to actually stream from one platform to the other. So I have to take, hey Teresa, so happy to have you here. I had to do 2 devices all at the same time. And this is gonna be a quick one today, so here we go. I am making rice cauliflower, and I'm gonna show you this. This is fabulous. Look at how beautiful this is. This is rainbow chard that came out of my garden. Isn't that fabulous? Isn't that gorgeous over here? Oh my gosh. And there's some collard greens in here because they were getting big. And the application that I use for this is very much the same. So let me show you what I do. I'm gonna start with, and let me move Instagram back a little bit here so that you can see. There we go. All right, and let me move you as well. My Facebook friends, Teresa, Merry Christmas to you, Teresa, and everybody. I'm gonna be making prime rib for Christmas. I do every year with a great green bean side dish, and so I'm gonna get to the grocery tomorrow and hope to get everything organized so I can just show you and take you along on that Christmas adventure. So I'm just chopping these onions up in a very rough chop. I started doing it before you joined me. And I'm gonna turn on this, there we go, turn it up to a medium-high heat, and off we go. So I always add into the pan, because I am fanatical, olive oil, and then I put in about 2 tablespoons of butter, because as you know, we spread love like butter. And I also am fanatical about the fact that the American the American product industry has taken fat. Hey Aisha, so nice to have you here, Valerie. And Natalie's here too, so happy to have you guys here. Has taken fat out of our diet. Non-fat this, low-fat that, non-fat this, low-fat that. But what they had to do is they had to add sugar to give it flavor. And when you ask me, sugar is absolute poison, and fat is amazing and beautiful and natural. And so I add butter to most things so that I don't have to add sugar. Also, the European community looks at us as having everything that we eat be very heavy sugar. And they can taste just how much sugar is in our diet naturally. So my goal is to help all of you wean yourself off of the sugar, add back the beautiful grass-fed butters that you can find really plentifully, and enjoy good healthy vegetables and fruits. And if you need a little bit of butter on those to make them enjoyable, then go for it. So this is starting to how many of you knew that when you take fat out of your diet, they added sugar? Just give me a 1 if you knew that, or if you're learning this for the first time, because I'm happy to share it with you. But I really like to know what you know and what you don't know so that I can just add information along the path. So into the pan goes the onions. There we go, into the pan. And we're gonna saute these until, or we're gonna do what I love to say, is we're gonna sweat them. Don't you love that? Hey, Kelly Marshall, thank you for being here. There we go. Teresa, did you know that when they took fat out of our diet with low fat and non-fat, that they added sugar when they take it out? Yes, you, Natalie did not know that, or Valerie rather. Valerie did not know that, but yes, that is exactly what happens. So, because they have to give flavor somewhere. Hey, Heather, thank you for being here. Well, there you go, Natalie. It's so true. And honestly, so Natalie from Sunny's Baking Escape over here, she is a beautiful baker. One of these days I'm going to have her on when she's ready to be on, and we're going to talk about it. See, Teresa didn't know either. I mean, it is amazing. And so when you do low-fat cottage cheese or non-fat cottage cheese, take a look at how much sugar is in there, because the flavor has to come from something. Flavor has to be from something. Also, since we took fat out of our diet, this really gets me all, you know, riled up, right? Is that our taste buds and our body are looking for fat. And why are we looking for fat? Because consuming fat into our system signals to our brain when we are full. So if you are eating and you are not getting fat, but you're just getting sugar, then your body does not have that natural signal to tell your brain to stop eating. And so therefore we get into this vicious cycle. I'm eating low fat so I can stay thin because I think it's healthier, but my body and everything that evolution has told me and you about our bodies, that eating fat tells you when you're full, and we're not eating fat, we're just eating sugar, so therefore your body does not know it's full. And so what happens is you eat way more, or you start craving other things to eat to help satiate that natural impulse. So, okay, sit with that. You're loving this education. I'm loving giving it to you. I don't even know I know this stuff until I start talking to all of you, and then I get so excited and passionate about it. So, okay, we're sweating these onions. I have to give a spoon. Get a spoon, so give me a minute. So I love this audience. I love you, all of you, the audience. So you can see the cutting board over here on Instagram. Let me get to you guys. You can see my cutting board over here. And this is the key. We're going to take the rice cauliflower. This is just organic rice cauliflower. And we're going to put it into the sweated, I love saying that, the sweated. And what are sweated onions? Sweated onions are onions that are not browned, but they become soft and translucent, okay? So let's just give this another couple minutes. Let me add salt and pepper while that is cooking down. You know, this little burner was given to me by my sister, and I love this burner. It is absolutely everything. I use it every day, and I told her never ask me for it back. But she did. She asked me for it back for Christmas morning because she always uses it Christmas morning. So I'm going to bring it over there on Christmas morning, and then I'm going to sneak it out the door because I have to have it. So let's see. There we go. Salt and pepper. Look at that. So can you guys see how beautiful and brown this is? Let me turn you. Well, it's not really brown. But they're really sweated, and they're just about to turn brown, and that they're at the perfect state that what you want to do is you want to add the rice cauliflower. So into the pan, 1 bag of rice cauliflower, and then the second bag I'm going to add later, and here's the reason why. Because what happens is all of this chard and collard greens will literally, if you saute it, will combine down into a quarter's worth of greens. I swear, that's what happens. It's like spinach. It really shrinks down. And this is how you keep it from shrinking down, is you put it into the pan with cauliflower and onions because there's substance to that, and that keeps everything from shrinking. It gives it something to bind to. So, okay, let me show you how to do this. You're going to take your chard and you're going to layer it. Can you see that? Give me a 1 if you can see. Hey, Andy Sage and Laura McNeese. So good to have you here. And Brenda Kramer. Thank you. Whoops, just dropped a knife. Yesterday or 2 days ago, I set the kitchen on fire with the recipe Hit My Candle. So I won't be burning candles anymore when I'm doing my Facebook Lives. Okay, so we're going to take this. Can you see that? Give me a 1 if you can see this. I know Instagram can see it. I'm pretty sure Facebook can see it, but I need you to tell me for sure because I don't want to leave anybody out. Okay, we're going to take this and we're going to roll it like we're rolling a cigar, very much like I've always taught you about how to do your basil. There you go, Teresa. Thank you. She's my best interactor. I love Teresa. Okay. And we're going to just slice through it like that. Can you see that over here? Okay, there we go. There you go. Okay, we're going to set that over there. I want to make sure I turn this so it's not in your way. Let me give this a shake and a stir. I hope my husband doesn't come down and trip over the knife. Okay, there we go. And let's keep going here. This is a collard green. These really work very similar to the chard. So we're going to take this. We're going to cut off the stems. You know, I wanted to use the stems in many of these recipes, and what I found is that the stems, as beautiful as they are, look at how beautiful those are, these stems, these charred stems. They are very bitter. And so I once made just the charred, but the stems were really bitter. It was really terrible. But look at this. This is why they call it rainbow, because this is gold. Look at how this is red. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at that. Beautiful. So I wanted to use them, but that was a mistake. Okay, so let's roll this up again. Okay. And we're chiffonading it. I don't even know if that's how you say it. My French is not good. My Spanish is awesome, but my French is not so good. Okay, more. Let's layer again. Get off the stems. And we're just going to do this until they're completely done. I love that you're watching me. Tell me if you have questions. Tell me some questions. I did grow this in my garden. I planted the seeds for the chard last year in January. Had never planted a seed in my life. And what I loved about the chard is that along with the zucchini, it was one of the very first things that came up. And it came up absolutely beautifully. Absolutely beautifully. And I fell in love with it. Problem was I didn't really know how to cook it. And I went through trial and error. One time I brought in, especially in the summer and in the spring, I brought in some amazing, like 2 baskets full of the chard. Hey, Peter Guzman, how are you? Thank you for being here. You heard we made our reservations, and I know you're happy about that, and we were honored to do it. Okay, so in the summer, and I'm back to bringing in the basket full of this chard. I mean, it was like a mound of chard that I brought in, and my husband was so excited. And I didn't make any other vegetable, and then all of a sudden I cooked it, and when I was done, literally there was a handful. I mean, he says, "Is this it?" And I go, "Well, it wasn't it, but it's it now." He was like, "Oh, now what?" I'm like, "I have no idea, but I've got to figure this out." So I started experimenting with the chard, and collard greens had the same problem. One of the best ways to cook collard greens I found is that if you put it into a, what's a word for it? I can't think of it. Poach it. If you poach it in vegetable broth or chicken broth, the collard greens absorb the broth and they don't shrink down. So I find that to be really great. So, okay, we're making rainbow Swiss chard and collard greens, but so that it doesn't shrink down, we are putting it right over here in, there we go, into rice cauliflower and onions. Now, I have sauteed up onions and 1 bag of the rice cauliflower over here, okay? But after I put the chard in, I'm going to add the 2nd bag of rice cauliflower, because you think I'm cooking for an army, but it all, shrinks down. And what happens is the 2nd bag of rice cauliflower adds substance, adds substance to what we're doing, and it keeps the rainbow chard and the collard greens from shrinking down. So I'm just going to show you a little bit how to do that, and then I'm going to turn the fire off, because we don't usually eat until around 6, and I don't want it to overcook, right? And you don't want me to overcook my dinner either. I know you don't. I know you don't want me to do that. I'd have a very unhappy Grandpa Bubby, as I say. Okay, so let's, there we go. So this really looks beautiful and it looks really easy, but I have to get through it all because you want to put it all in at once. So under normal circumstances, what you would do is you would chop it up and put it all in at one time, or as you get it done, but you don't want it to shrink too much. So we're going to throw it in when it's all done and get it ready. So I just went on a tirade about how much butter is necessary in our diet so that our brains know when we're full. and that if you are eating something that is low fat, you are eating a ton of sugar, because if they've taken the fat out of something, as an example, like cottage cheese or even milk, then in many cases they add sugar. And I don't know about the milk. I don't know if they add milk, but let's talk about low-fat yogurt and low-fat ice cream as an example. If they've taken the fat out, then chances are they've added sugar, and lots of it to make up for the flavor. Okay, cutting through this once again. And really, look at how beautiful this is. I mean, it's just, when we talk about eating the rainbow, just look at how beautiful that is. If you see how beautiful it is, hit me with a smiley face. Can you do that? Okay, almost to the end. We're gonna throw it in. We're gonna season it. I'm gonna turn off the fire. And when I come back to have dinner for the family, I'm gonna heat it back up, throw in the second bag of the rice cauliflower. Now, of course, if I were making this right now, I would put in the rice cauliflower at the same time I add. And if you're only using one bag of cauliflower, then split that bag in half. Okay, there we go. There we go. There we go. Okay, all done. Finally. It's fun though. I love it. It's very relaxing. I love to chop. And it's so gratifying. Okay, roll it like a cigar. There we go. And beautiful, right? Just beautiful. Okay, into the pot. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Let me help you see it. It's so beautiful. There's nothing more beautiful on a plate than the greens. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Isn't that beautiful? Let me get you over here, Instagram. Not sure who's still here over on Instagram, but there you go. Can you see that? Isn't that gorgeous? Okay, there you go. We're gonna take this and just move it around, such as that. I'm gonna add the smoked paprika. You need just a little bit of sprinkle of this. I love that on the cauliflower. Sometimes I just do salt and pepper and smoked paprika on the cauliflower. There we go. And a little bit of salt, about a half teaspoon, because we put salt and pepper into the onions. And a little bit more pepper. And that is a healthy side dish. So I just want to tell you one quick thing about rainbow chard. I just wanted to tell you a quick story, and then I'll say goodbye, and I'll see you all tomorrow. So when the shutdown began in March, it was so, look, everybody, it wasn't just for me, everybody was so distressed. Everybody was so distressed. And you really didn't know what to expect. I mean, if people were hoarding toilet paper, I had no idea what was going to happen with the food, right? I mean, I think all of us were like, what is going to happen? And I did go to the grocery store, and people were hoarding pasta and pasta sauce and, look, anything they could get their hands in, and I couldn't blame them. At the end of the day, though, I just couldn't be that kind of a neighbor. I just could not go and stock up for my family and me and think that my neighbors couldn't have anything. And so as a result of that, I did not hoard. But what I did do is I waited until 1 hour before Whole Foods closed, and I decided that I was going to go in at the end of the day and just see what was left, and I would figure out how to do something fantastic with what was left. And so I walked into Whole Foods, into the produce department, and to their credit, with everybody's hands and everybody like pillaging through that produce department, they had cleaned it up like every half hour. They were cleaning up and putting it together and making it look fantastic. And when I walked in, everything was tidy. The store was practically empty, but up on the shelf, there was nothing left except this beautiful rainbow chard just sitting there. All those colors, all that beauty, and there were several of them. There were like 5, 6, 7 stalks of rainbow chard. And they were just smiling at me. They were just the most beautiful things I'd ever said. And I looked at them and I gave them a wink and thought to myself, okay, baby, this is it. It's just rainbow charred. Everything else was gone. If I have to, I will figure it out. And I will figure out what to do with what is left. And I had this love affair with rainbow chard ever since, because the rainbow chard, which have no life but have energy because they are a vegetable and vegetables have energy. They comforted me in knowing that nobody was hoarding them because nobody knew what to do with it and I could figure it out. Or even if I couldn't, I would. And I would share it with everybody. So that's my rainbow chard story. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed today. No more dinner dreads. And remember, hey Sue, nice to have you here. And remember, every day, go out and spread love like butter. Happy Monday, everybody. Bye.